Hello, welcome back to Cindy's Library. I am Cindy, getting close to Christmas. You can tell because I am wearing my little Christmas tree earrings that a friend gave to me years ago. So today I wanted to talk about one of my favorite Christmas books, since it is one I'm not sure everyone will be quite so familiar with. But it is The Father Christmas Letters by J.R.R. Tolkien. So, if you don't know much about Tolkien, he married and he actually had 4 children: John, Michael, Christopher, and Priscilla. And in the persona of Father Christmas, he wrote them letters every Christmas from 1920 to 1943, which is rather amazing, complete with illustrations. And they are just wonderful. Let's see here. Here is one of the first ones. And he even decorates the letter with different colors. He writes in a shaky hand as Father Christmas. The beautiful illustrations. One of the most prominent figures in this collection is, let's see if I can find a good picture of him. This is pretty decent. This is one of my favorite pictures. The Great Polar Bear, who is Father Christmas's chief assistant. There is also the snowman and snow babies and polar bear's nephews who come and visit and never leave, and Cave Bear and the cave cubs and elves and gnomes and goblins. In fact, Father Christmas even has a secretary, an elf named Elbereth. And let's see if I can find an example here. Father Christmas writes in a wiggly handwriting. Polar Bear, though, is a distinctive fold, and yes, he likes to put in asides, sometimes agreeing with Father Christmas, sometimes explaining, sometimes contradicting Father Christmas. There are all sorts of adventures that they have. Starts out simple enough, but Tolkien, he is a mythologizer and he can't help building on it. And so we've got wars with goblins and troubles with goblins, and the polar bear does all sorts of crazy antics nearly every year, which is quite delightful. In fact, let's see. I missed it. Yes. One year, Polar Bear got lost in a cave, and when Father Christmas and Cave Bear came looking for him, what they discovered was cave walls filled with pictures like this. And then later, sent a message made out of characters. The polar bear did. And let's see. I'm a little surprised it's this far. Yes. A language, characters, which given Tolkien's predilection for language adventure is once again not surprising at all. So you've got dear little things like this. Cliff House, top of the world, near the North Pole, Monday, December 20th, 1926. My dear boys, I'm more shaky than usual this year. The North Polar Bear's fault. It was the biggest bang in the world and the most monstrous firework there has ever been. It turned the North Pole black and shook all the stars out of place, broke the moon in four, and a man in it fell into my back garden. He ate quite a lot of my Christmas chocolates before he said he felt better and climbed back to mend it and get the stars tidy. And then I found out that the reindeer had broken loose. They were running all over the country, breaking reins and ropes and tossing presents up in the air. Always an adventure to explain anything that might be wrong with the children's presents. But perhaps the most touching one is this one at the end. My messengers, and you have to remember that this is during World War II, the last letter to his youngest daughter, Priscilla. My messengers tell me that people call it grim this year. I think they mean miserable, and so it is. I've been in very many places where I was especially fond of going, but I'm very glad to hear that you are still not really miserable. Don't be. I'm still very much alive and shall come back again soon, as merry as ever. There has been no damage in my country, and though my stocks are running rather low, I hope soon to put that right. And that is a message that I think we could all use for this Christmas season, that the Christmas season is, the Christmas spirit, I should say, is still out there. And in spite of there being a pandemic right now, that is still true, and it will still be there for us when all our current troubles are over. It's also a good reminder that as difficult as this past year has been for all too many of us, there is always hope, and this has not been the first difficult time in the world, and no doubt will not be the last. So here is hoping that next year will be a much better year for all of us. Hope you enjoyed this video. Feel free to comment if you have any thoughts of your own. If you haven't read the Father Christmas letters, I can highly recommend them. They'd be wonderful for children too, I think. So until next time, hope we all stay safe and healthy, and as always, thank you for joining me here, and happy reading!